I have been summoned for jury duty. It's supposed to happen next week. I've been able to avoid it in the past by just sending a letter telling them I had Asperger's back when I still lived with my parents and could use that as like extra set dressing for, oh, look at this 23-year-old autistic spectrumite still living with his parents. Trying to paint a picture of myself as an invalid with crippling anxiety who can't do anything, which wasn't necessarily untrue. That worked when I lived in Oregon, but now that I'm in Washington and it's been several years since my last summons, I guess they do this shit online now, and when you fill out the form, they are much more specific about what you need to have going on to exclude you, and there is no wiggle room. You basically either need to be in a coma or round the clock caring for someone in a coma. I was racking my brain trying to figure out an angle to select on the online form that would get me out of something I have absolutely no business doing, but while I was thinking, the session timed out, and when the page refreshed, it just said I was confirmed for jury duty. I got fucking bamboozled. One of the options to exclude was like if your job doesn't give you those days off or let you be away from work that long, which would require a letter from your employer, and since I am my own employer, I wondered if I could speak on my own behalf as a YouTuber and be like, yeah, no, this guy's too busy to step away, he needs to be on that content grind. So I tried, in email form. I said I couldn't afford to take any days off of YouTube and that transportation would be too expensive because I'm poor and don't drive, and even if I did, they have like $15 parking fees that can fuck off. How are you going to compel me, like it's the World War II draft, to come work for you on my own fucking dime? And they replied, I didn't say all that last part, just the stuff about having no days or money to spare ever, and they said they needed to see a business license, a thing YouTubers do not need to have in general, and that I have obviously not decided to acquire for no reason. So I was like, I don't have that because I don't need to have that, so here's a 1099 instead to prove that I do what I do at least. And they were like, nah, we can't accept that, still needs to be a business license. And at this point I just threw the kitchen sink at him. I was like, I need to be excluded, I have crippling anxiety, I can't afford transportation, I can't leave my cats home all day, I should not be deciding random people's fates in a jury, I don't want to be tampered with if the dude has mob ties and wants to hire someone to break my legs for a vote. I did everything shy of just pretending to be racist to get out of jury duty, which I imagine does work, but I wouldn't want that to go on some public record to bite me in the ass later. I'm too earnest and responsible and whipped by authority for my own good. My girlfriend said whenever she gets jury duty summons in the mail, she just ignores it and nothing happens. That would literally never occur to me. They threaten you with a damn misdemeanor, for one, if you fail to show up for jury duty, but I guess if you never respond in the first place, then you're never really locked into it. I regret that so hard. Some of my mail still goes to my parents' house, and they sent me a picture of the jury summons, and I logged on straight away to try and get out of it, sure, but I could only think of operating within the system instead of just ignoring it entirely. I am afraid of breaking government rules, be they laws or just guidelines. I just never want to do anything that might even tangentially get me in trouble. Anyway, none of it worked. They replied that they understood where I was coming from, but they can't exclude me for being a bitch. So I'm stuck. There's some hope. My mom said that sometimes they exclude people the first day in person when you go in there, that it happened to her friend a few times. I don't know if that means there's an interview or something, but whatever I gotta say, man. Do you think you would be a fair and impartial juror? No, I would walk up to the defense and quietly ask for a bribe. I would vote whichever way gets me out of there the quickest. You see in those lawyer shows sometimes where the jury is like overwhelmingly in favor of convicting a guy, but one lady is like, I don't know, this just doesn't feel quite right, usually because the defendant is a black guy and she feels as guilty as he probably is. I would never be that lady. This feels more right than anything I've ever felt. Get me the fuck out of here in a day. I don't want to be on call for a whole week like a heart surgeon. The lady's like, but if you look at the evidence, they never found the murder weapon, or the victim, or the defendant, and this is just some guy they brought in for loitering outside the courthouse. I'm still saying guilty. He ate the murder weapon, alright? It dissolved in his stomach, as did the victim. He's a murderer and a cannibal. Let's wrap this up. I gotta stream 80 hours of Elden Ring again this month. I should not be a juror. The whole system is appalling, like it has no right to be mandatory, and it's especially tailored against me. When normies who have normie jobs get off work to do jury duty, those are paid days off for the most part. Sure, you have to suffer through an episode of The Good Wife with no editing, but at least you're still making a living wage. Jury duty by default pays you $10 a day. The parking fee is $15. I am losing money in this forced venture. It's like someone stealing a week of my revenue generation and putting it in a meme coin that tanks. If I don't have a ride, it's going to be like $50 a day to Uber. It should be straight up illegal for the government to compel you to waste money providing them a service that you can't turn down. One of the exclusion options should just say, I thought this was America. For the record, yes, for me this also applies to taxes, because every year I owe $3 grand for the crime of existing on the internet, and I'm supposed to willingly give that shit away so they can all still be trillions of dollars in debt to whoever. I don't want to fund aid to other places, I want to buy toilet paper, because I will never drink the bidet Kool-Aid no matter how many YouTubers tell me it's rejuvenated their assholes. Bidets are gay. Alright, I said it. If I wanted liquid squirted up my ass, I'd bend over at H&M. I'd go in a female changing room at Macy's and wait for a trans woman to rape me. Can I be excluded from jury duty if the court sees this video? Sorry, bro. No phobes allowed. What if the judge talked like that? All rise, my dudes. I will now bring this trial to order while I nosh on these Cool Ranch Doritos. If you want me to willingly participate in jury duty, the jurors should be treated like VIPs. Send a limo to pick us up, pay for snacks and drinks, let me get a little tipsy while the attorneys make uncomfortable eye contact with all of us during their arguments. I'm gonna be so pissed off at both lawyers if I actually have to sit there and dodge eye contact for hours while they make impassioned, dramatic speeches like they're auditioning for Congress. Why can't we be like Ace Attorney, which doesn't even have jurors, just a crowd that's there for the show because it's actually entertaining, and you get to watch the prosecution and the defense trade barbs with each other like it's a roast battle while the judge is the only one who has to decide anything. One thing I've always wondered, though, that may actually get answered if I have to go through with this, is how the jury decides who's going to be the alpha that goes up there and announces the verdict. Because all jokes aside, I would like to do that. I wonder if there's ever been times where the judge is like, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, have you reached a verdict? And then like 4 people stand up at once and talk over each other for the spotlight. I'd make it sexy. I'd be up there like, we the jury find the defendant, James Andrew Johnson, not guilty. The rest of the jury's like, that is not what we voted. You even agreed. Anyway, I'm not looking forward to this, and I'm going to want to kill myself the whole time, but I go in there and show them what a hung jury really looks like. That's going to do it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, you can like, share, and subscribe. Watch all my other videos with no objections, Your Honor, and I'll see you guys next time.